This is My Quebec City, your city, your stories. Post-secondary education is a time in life for many of us that is quite fun and quite formative, especially if we move away from home for it. But what happens when not only do you move away from home, you go somewhere where you don't speak the primary language? That was the case for Owen when he came here for university. Owen, what's your story?
I'm a fifth-year PhD student at Laval University. I'm from Ontario, so I've been living in Quebec for about 5 years now.
What made you choose Université Laval and Quebec City?
I was finishing my undergrad in Hamilton at McMaster University, and I really wanted to work with microscopes, very fancy microscopes, and I said, I don't care where I am as long as it's in Canada, so I found the top labs I could find, and my choice of the litter ended up being in Quebec City.
Language and culture aside, of course, did your time as a marauder help you get comfortable as a rougeur?
For sure. It was a transition from undergrad, a bachelor's degree, to a master's. So trying to jump into a master's without the undergrad would have been an absolute disaster. There was certainly a different element of it with the language barrier. But yeah, if I didn't have the Hamilton experience, I would have been lost.
Did the fact that you're a musician help you integrate at all in terms of going to shows, playing shows, meeting fellow musicians?
For the first 2 years, I would say no. I just stayed in my little corner and I wrote songs and I planned to make releases on Spotify and all that. But after 2 or 3 years, I finally joined a band. And with that, for sure, going out playing shows, that brought me into more shows. It kind of threw me into the local music scene. So eventually it did.
What advice would you have for future students coming to Université Laval from outside Quebec?
I think the first few years, for sure, I had zero French at all, so it was really interesting to kind of redo. I suddenly didn't know any of the basic words. We're trying to talk about high-level science, and I couldn't order food. So there was this huge discrepancy between kind of, you don't realize how easy life is when you can communicate with the people around you until that gets stripped away. And now I could speak English in my labs because science tends to be in English, but the rest of it, the normal life stuff, that communication was really hard. But the typically hard science communication ended up being the easier form of communication. I was really hesitant to start learning French. I didn't get into it until maybe 2 or 3 years in. So if I had advice for people who are just starting, don't just go for Duolingo. There are better things that exist, and it's something that you should get excited about and find reasons to get into before you end up spending 2 years and only doing self-checkout because you don't want to talk to people.
Student life can be so interesting, both on and off campus. Is there anything you've taken to as a hobby or otherwise that you'll take with you from your experience?
So I came here for science. I was a musician. And then after 3 years of being here, I decided I want to play hockey again. And the last time I played, I was 12 years old. I gave it up so I could play guitar more often and get into that. But one day I was like, I just really want to be a goalie again, please. And I had a lot of troubles finding the first few teams, especially because it was all French-speaking teams. But since I was learning French at the time, it felt like a good reason to keep learning French, and kind of this reward was hockey. So I started this deck hockey league, and I was in it for 2 or 3 years. I'm on a small break now, but it's been very enjoyable. Now, anytime I consider moving, I try to check to see if this new place I would go to has some kind of deck hockey, and it usually doesn't. That's really a Quebec thing.